Hey everyone, welcome to another part of my in-depth review of the new Tyranids Codex. As always, my name is Jay, and as I said, I'm going over, this is part 2, where I'm going to dedicate this part to the HQs. So if you missed my part 1, just to basically sum up my part 1, I am disappointed in this new Tyranids Codex. Greatly. I'm not very impressed by it. I think they took away a lot of good things, and they didn't add much more into it. The number of models, okay, that they added, yee, extra flyer, Biovore on steroids. But in the end, you know what, I don't think that they really made enough difference to make the Codex better. The good things, they really nerfed them to the ground. That's what I kind of say. So, but we'll go over them, and we'll talk about why. So we'll start off with the HQ slots. Being represented here, my Tervigon here. Ooh, Tervigons. So we'll start off, of course, the fundamental HQ that's always been for the Tyranids is the Hive Tyrant. Now the Hive Tyrant actually got a drop in points by 5. So it's now 165 points base, identical stat line as before, or slightly higher weapon skill. I think it went from 7 to 8. Maybe I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm in the comment section down below, but its weapon skill is now 8. That's it. So now it's a Psychic Mastery level 2. And it has Shadow in the Warp, and it's a Synapse creature. And we discussed both that in the previous part. So now it has 2 psychic powers per turn. That's pretty cool. Of course, as I said, psychic powers aren't amazing anymore. They don't have access to Biomancy. Yay. It can take Indescribable Horror, Old Adversary, and Hive Commander. They have changed those slightly. So I will go to the page for the Hive Tyrant and go over it slightly more. So Hive Commander, for each Hive Tyrant in your army, with this upgrade, choose a single troop selection and they can outflank. Cool, but outflanking doesn't do much. Maybe with a shooting squad, perhaps coming from the side, shoot some armor. Indescribable Horror, so Hive Commander, I think that's, did you used to give Hive? I don't remember. Indescribable Horror is units taking a fear test caused by this model must roll an extra dice when taking the test and use the highest 2 results. In most circumstances, this will mean the unit rolls 3d6 and discards the lowest dice roll. And Old Adversary. This Hive Tyrant rerolls all fail to hit rolls and to wound rolls of 1. This Hive Tyrant, as opposed to the old Adversary, which gave everything within 6 inches of its preferred enemy. So in the end, nerfed. And has access to wings and a prehensile, pincer, tail, biomorph. And I should go over the tail biomorphs. There's 4 tail biomorphs: Bone Mace, Strength 8, AP minus, melee, unwieldy, prehensile, pincer tail, Strength 6, AP 5, melee, ooh, Thresher Scythe. It gets 1 additional attack, basically. The tails get 1 additional attack. Note that this combat attack is resolved separately from the model's other close combat attacks and uses the appropriate profile below. There's the Thresher Scythe, Strength 4, AP 4, melee rending, Toxin Spike, Strength 1, AP 6, melee, poison 2+. Cool, and that's the Hive Tyrant. Wings got 5 points cheaper too, so now a winged Hive Tyrant is 200 points. So, and then of course you can give it Twinling Devourers, which are basically the same as before. They don't give a minus anymore to leadership tests. Scything Talons also got nerfed. They don't do any more rerolls anymore. They don't give any benefit. So really, yeah, cheaper monsters, a cheaper Hive Tyrant. So now people are going to run Hive Tyrants that are winged. They don't have access to heavy armor anymore. So that's it. They don't have access, as I said, so they can't get 2+ saves anymore. They only have 3+ saves. So you might as well give them wings, and a bunch of Flyrants are going to fly around the battlefield. Yeah, or that, or you give them Tyrant Guard. But I'd give them wings any day, fly them around the field with Twinling Devourers, and have fun with that. That's still a good option. It's about 215 points. That's what you do. Give them Regeneration. Regeneration is awesome. It is the thing that will keep them alive. It's a 4+. So, up next, Swarmlord. And for some reason, the Swarmlord got more expensive. The Swarmlord was already stupidly expensive. And it got more expensive with absolutely no addition to its stat line, absolutely no addition to its rules, it can't access biomancy anymore, so it's no longer it no longer has it can now be instant killed. Doesn't have Eternal Warrior, but its Warlord trait is Synaptic Linchpin, which means it automatically goes up to an 18-inch synapse range. And as I said, so it doesn't get a cool Warlord trait. It uses up its Warlord trait to get the same rule it used to have. Has Alien Cunning, Psyker, Shadow in the Warp, Swarm Leader, Synapse Creature, and Swarm Lord generates psychic powers from the powers of the Hive Mind, as does the Hive Tyrant. Of course, you can give him. Of course, you can always give Tyrant Guard to the Swarm Lord or the Hive Tyrant, and they really didn't change the stat line of them either. They made them 5 points cheaper. They used to be 55 points, I believe, each. Sorry, 60 points. So now they're 10 points cheaper. They're now 50 points each, and you can give them Crushing Claws or Lash Whip and Bone Sword, Toxin Sacs, Adrenal Glands. And they're basically the same. They take wounds. They're okay. Now, Old One Eye. Old One Eye used to be a heavy support choice. Now it's been moved up to the to HQ. It went from, it got I believe a good drop in price. It used to be 260, and now it's now 220. So that's nice. Again, no Eternal Warrior, no psychic powers. It has its Warlord trait is Adaptive Biology, and its Crushing Claws, Saving Talents, Thresher Scythe, Regeneration. Its special rules: Alpha Leader, Berserk, Rampage. Let me look at these rules, and we'll see. Old One Eye. He might be now a more viable option. Alpha Leader, enemy friendly model within 12 inches of Old One Eye can choose to use Old One Eye's leadership, which is 8. All right. Berserk Rampage. For every successful hit roll, he causes another attack. Successful hit roll that Old One Eye makes. So for every hit roll, he gets another attack, not a failed wound. That's cool. But these ones do not confer extra ones. Okay. So he's not Synapse, and he can get a few hits. That's cool. It'll be 2 wound rolls probably of 2 because he's smashing. So he's pretty cool. Interesting choice. Again, up next, the Tervigon. Now, Tervigons were really good in 5th edition. So, of course, now I figured they'd still stay good, and there were rumors that they'd be better, but they're not. They got worse in a few ways. Number 1, no biomancy. Number 2, they got more expensive. They used to be 160 points, now they're 195. No upgrades. 195 points. So now they're more expensive. And I know you're thinking, well, you can still take them as troops, but of course we'll go over that later. But yeah, that also got nerfed. It used to be you could take squads of Gaunts, 1 squad of 10 Gaunts to bring a Tervigon as a troop. Now you have to bring squads of 30. Right now, Games Workshop really wants to sell Gaunts. And that's what it's going to be. Basically, the ideal army now is going to be, as I said, 200 Gaunts running across the field, being mowed down, dying pretty quickly. Hopefully you don't face anything with high armor or high strength or a flamethrower. And of course the Tervigon, as I said, nothing really changed with the Tervigon. We'll go to the Tervigon's page, but no cool upgrades that made it, you know, better at producing Gaunts. So once again, it's a brood progenitor, so it, all Termagons within 12 inches of it have counterattack like it did before. And yeah, you can spawn Gaunts. And now they even nerfed the spawning of Gaunts. They made that nerfed. It's still, if you roll 3d6, if you roll any doubles or triples, it stops for the rest of the game. And now the Gaunts can't even move or assault. They can only shoot. So at the end of your movement phase, so it used to be before the Tervigon has moved, a Tervigon can spawn Gaunts even if it's locked in combat. It does roll 3d6. Models in this unit cannot be placed in impassable terrain or within 1 inch of enemy models. The spawn unit cannot move during the movement phase in which it spawned, nor can it charge this turn, but it's free to shoot or run as normal. Yeah. They have flesh borers and may not purchase options. And Synaptic Clash. If they die, bad things happen to the Gons around them, just as they did before. So, Tervigons, nerfed. Yay. Up next, Tyranid Primes. Now, Tyranid Primes in the previous Codex were a viable option. They were a cheap option in case you wanted to bring some Synapse at a good cost, maybe a support or HQ. And once again, for some random reason, now I thought Warriors were going to get better, seeing as there was an upgraded kit. They actually got worse, because the Tyranid Prime got worse and Tyranid Warrior stayed the same. So, a Tyranid Prime. Now, it used to be 80 points, so a nice cheap HQ, but it's now 125 points. So for an extra 40 points, you go from this puny little Warrior Prime to a Hive Tyrant. I don't know. I don't see many people taking Tyranid Primes anymore. They have a Devour Inciting Talons. And yeah, you can have access to weapons or flesh hooks. Grenades. Yay. In the end, Warriors, and I think maybe Carnifexes were the only ones given flesh hooks, or the ability to take flesh hooks. And I'll go over that in my troops choice. Once again, disappointed. And finally, Death Leaper. Death Leaper used to be an elite slot. Now the elite slot of the previous codex was really bloated and really ugly. And you'd also have to figure out how to debate what you want to take. But now Death Leaper is an HQ. So we'll see if the Death Leaper has changed at all. He's now 130 points. That is a drop in price. He used to be 140 points. So he's 10 points cheaper. But it's after me. Nominate an enemy model at the beginning of the game and roll a D3. Whilst the Death Leaper is live, that model's leadership is reduced by that result. That's cool. If it's a Psyker, probably do it on a Psyker. Whereas enemy models can only snap fire when shooting the Death Leaper. And he has weapon skill 9, ballistic skill 3. Of course, he's a 5-up save, 3 wounds. He's toughness 4, so he's going to die pretty quickly. He's dead. Second he fails a save, he's basically going to... That's the Death Leaper. His Warlord trait is Mind Eater. He does have Deep Strike, Fear, Fleet, Hit and Run, and Infiltrate. Now, I think, as I mentioned before, what you're missing from this codex, from this section, the big one is Parasite Mortrax. He was a really interesting HQ, never got a model, and is now gone. Games Workshop just didn't want to create a model for it, apparently. And that's it. That's my HQ review, as I said. So, to sum up, Hive Tyrants got cheaper. Yay. Nerfed. Swarmlord, more expensive and nerfed. Tyrant Guard, cheaper, just as helpful, but again, I don't see them going to be very taken. Of course, this is an awesome kit right here, which I'll be doing an unboxing for. Definitely stay tuned to that one. And I just knocked over my arm off my guy. But I don't think a lot of people are going to be taking Tyrant Guard unless you're taking the Swarmlord, who's still very slow and will die, because now he has no access to Eternal Warrior. He's going to go down pretty quickly. Old One Eye. He's now in HQ slot. He's actually kind of cool, but he's not Synapse. Tervigons, nerfed. More expensive, nerfed. Tyranid Prime, nerfed. Death Leaper, interesting. So that's it. So stay tuned for my next review. I really hope you enjoyed this one, got some information from it. I don't mean to sound sour, just this codex is putting me in a bad mood today. So yeah, stay tuned for the next part where I will be going over the elite slot. The reason why I'm breaking up into these selections is I've yet to upgrade my computer, and this is going to take about 4 hours to render. So I really hope you enjoyed it. Please like the video, comment in the comment section down below if you want anything to add to this, if you agree with me, disagree, anything else you want to add. Remember, we can add these artifacts to the HQs, the ones I mentioned in the previous video. That's kind of cool. But yeah, so stay tuned for the next one, which I will be going over the elite slot. Till next time, this is Jay saying, happy wargaming, everyone.